Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and today I want to talk to you guys a little bit about a recent study done, I believe it was last month, that came out looking at leucine, muscle growth, and strength in healthy young men when they first start a weight training program. So let me put on my +5 out of weaponsmithing, work on scaling up my crafting a little bit, and let's talk about this. And I'm going to link the study down below for you guys, at least just the abstract. And what needs to be noted here, this is one of those that we haven't done a lot of direct studies on. People talk a lot about supplementing amino acids, and it's become a big thing in recent years, like within the last decade, to supplement branched chain amino acids because they've been found to be the most important ones for muscle growth, and particularly leucine. Leucine seems to be the amino acid that's the primary trigger in muscle tissue for like an anabolic drive, anabolic response as far as the proteins go. But people need to remember, ultimately, all your essential amino acids, even your non-essential amino acids, are required for muscle growth. Your muscle protein fibers are made out of all of them, and you need a sufficient amount to repair tissue in your muscle from training, repair tissue in your organs, everything else. You use all these various amino acids to build new proteins that rebuild most of the structure of your body. Everything from your skin to your muscles, your organs, blood vessels, all that stuff. They're made out of protein. Even your hair, fingernails, it's all protein. But there's been this study of these, and because everyone's considered leucine to be the most important, people have either focused on supplementing just branched chain amino acids or even just leucine. Now, they did a study where they took like 20 young men, put them on an 8-week training program, and compared the two, and they gave one group cornstarch, the other group 3 grams of leucine. Now, that's a lot of leucine when you consider that, again, it's a specific amino acid. There's 20 different amino acids. That's basically the equivalent amount of leucine that would be found in 60 grams of what would be considered really high quality protein. Now, a lot of people speculate that, all you need are the essential ones, or certain ones really supplemented to get a benefit. Well, here's what they found. There was no benefit. All right. Yes, there were differences, but they weren't statistically significant. The cornstarch group gained more muscle and strength in their quadriceps, and the leucine group gained more muscle and strength in their hamstrings. But these are both within the acceptable range, so I don't want people to look at that and say, well, that wasn't statistically significant difference, because that could just be differences in genetics with a group that size. And I don't want people to think that supplementing 3 grams of cornstarch after a workout is going to be the magic key to stimulating quadricep growth, because it's not, not how that would work. But the thing is, they didn't see any benefit. No benefits in strength, no benefits in hypertrophy after 8 weeks of supplementing it every time post-workout. And, arguably post-workout is the time when you most want to stimulate anabolic signal in your muscle tissue, because that's where repair starts. That's when muscle growth starts. Everything else is after you train. So in theory, that would be the most ideal time. Well, some would argue pre-workout. But here's the thing, no difference. And I've seen a few people look at it, Brad Schoenfeld, Alan Aragon, and they both look at it and said, yeah, because the thing is, they got enough protein. That's the thing that people need to understand. Even these most important amino acids, the ones that we isolate and say, okay, this one seems to be the, see, if we had to look at the 20 amino acids in the body, this is the one that seems to be the most anabolic one. This is the one that seems to be most important for muscle growth. So that's the one people should be supplementing. Then they supplement it, though, if they were already getting enough leucine in their diet. And most people on a balanced diet who are eating enough calories to grow, to gain muscle, are pretty unlikely to not be getting enough of this stuff. And that's what people need to understand. That sort of thing becomes important for someone who, say, they're on a vegan diet or something, right? Arguably, someone on a vegan diet might benefit from a lot more of these things. And in fact, they seem to benefit more from things like creatine. Just because they're possibly getting less of it in their diet. But people who are on balanced diets of mostly whole foods, getting sufficient calories, sufficient nutrition, actually very rarely benefit from taking any supplement. They very rarely benefit in studies from taking anything. We even found diet to be related to creatine not giving gains. Like 1/3 of people in study after study, about 1/3 of people don't see any benefit from creatine. Why? Because they're getting a sufficient amount in their diet. Most likely culprit. Even though the amount in anyone's diet is never going to be the amount people supplement. And that's a conundrum. Well, maybe the amount people are supplementing is way more than you need to get any benefit. Well, it's the same here with the leucine. There's an ideal amount, but people who are eating a good diet with enough protein. It doesn't even have to be a good diet, it just has to have enough protein in it. And in America, there aren't many of us not getting enough protein to gain muscle. Let's be realistic. Most Americans are already on a high protein diet. Okay, most of us are on high protein diets already, whether we choose to be or not. Just due to our food selection, we have an abundance of protein in this country. So therefore, amino acid supplements, protein supplements just aren't that useful in the grand scheme of things. And the same thing, even protein powder supplements. In order to even see the benefits people talk about of the post-workout shakes, you have to have people fasted. Meaning only people who train fasted and in a depleted state even seem to benefit. People who ate breakfast with enough protein in it before they trained don't even see anabolic benefits from consuming a whey and dextrose shake after they train. Alright? They don't even see a benefit. In fact, numerous studies, some studies have looked at it and even noted that someone who just drinks chocolate milk after they train gets the same benefit with these supplements. And that's just a normal food you can buy at the grocery store. I'm not saying chocolate milk's an ideal food. I'm not promoting it. But you get the idea. Supplements are only there to fill a deficiency in your diet. And in that case, a quick absorbing protein powder and a quick absorbing carb, what deficiency is it filling in your diet? The fact that you didn't eat breakfast before you trained. Because realistically, that is a dietary deficiency. Oftentimes it's planned, it's a planned deficiency, but that is a deficiency you have artificially created. Because some people choose to go train fasted. It's the only people who seem to show benefits in these studies from these things. If people eat breakfast first with enough protein and carbs, they don't even benefit from a post-workout recovery shake. They don't gain anything from it. It's only there to fill a deficiency in your diet. And in this case, man, you trained without enough carbs and protein in your system. Therefore, you really need something like that afterwards once tissue proteins and everything are breaking down. But that's the problem we run into with all these supplements. They're always touted as, oh, we found this, it's going to help you. It might even give you a 1% edge, a 2% edge, a 10% edge. You get that all the way to stuff saying it's necessary. If you don't get this post-workout shake, you're going to have catabolism and you're not going to make gains. And all this stuff is marketed. The reality is when we study it, the benefits are only there if there's a deficiency created in the diet for it. There's a deficiency created for the diet. People who don't eat red meat benefit from creatine. People who eat significant amounts of red meat, even lean red meat, that doesn't have all the extra cholesterol and saturated fat. In fact, the leaner red meat usually has more creatine in it per calorie or per unit of volume because you've got more tissue proteins. They don't benefit from creatine. People who get enough protein in their diet, they don't benefit from essential amino acids. They don't benefit from leucine or BCAA. They don't see a benefit in studies. We've shown studies now showing that pre-workouts, even when taken regularly, the best ones on the market, the most preferred ones, don't even cause any change in strength or muscle mass compared to a group that just drinks coffee. No change, no benefit. Post-workout shakes only benefit people who don't eat enough before they train, or who choose to eat nothing before they train, which again isn't wise. If you're trying to gain muscle or preserve muscle, training fasted, lifting weights fasted is not a very smart idea. Alright, fasted cardio, things like that are often done for fat loss, but if you're trying to gain muscle, training fasted is probably one of the worst things you could possibly do. But if you do, you'll benefit from these shakes, and that's what it comes down to. If you're on a balanced diet that's sufficient, most of these products do nothing. They're only there to fill in weak links in your diet. And the thing is, most people don't have 6 or 7 weak links in their diet where they're going to benefit from 6 or 7 supplements. Some people don't eat enough protein because they're a vegan or whatever, and they don't even take a vegan protein powder, so they might benefit from a protein shake or an amino acid supplement, or maybe a B12 vitamin. People who choose not to eat breakfast and train fasted will benefit from a post-workout recovery shake. But it's dietary deficiency that creates these things. People who don't consume red meat might benefit from a creatine supplement. They only fill in a niche in your diet. That's all they do. They fill in weak links, and if you don't know what weak links you have in your diet, you're just out buying random supplements hoping something works when you could just address it with a balanced diet. Alright guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.